about 2 minutes. And then, yeah, the whole program will start. Oh, Anantya, hello. Very nice to have you here. Chris, hello, Chris. How are you?
Hi, Arifin. Good. Thanks.
Servus.
Good.
Okay, Hans Tropila as well. So from good old apa namanya? From Netherlands. So we have people from Netherlands, we have from Qatar, we have them from the UK, and from Jakarta. Very nice, very nice. Very happy. Hope everyone can hear me. If someone cannot hear me, please let me know. Okay. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Fena has joined us. Very lovely. Very good. Yes, Kathy, do you have a question? No, just
Sorry, I just press it mistakenly. Sorry.
That's okay. We're testing things out. We're having a fun day today. That's very nice. Okay. So we're almost there. We could actually start soon. Okay, let's give it one more minute and then we will start this session. So if everyone wants to get coffee first or water, something to eat, a snack. So basically we will be talking for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the questions. If we have a lot of questions, it might go over that. But we'll try to keep it as short as possible. And yeah, we just want to thank everyone for coming today. I'm very happy to have everyone on board. Yeah, so almost there. It's quite exciting for us as our onboarding. After this, the whole program will start. Very nice. If for us, because this we have been discussing this with UK Tech Hub since last year. So it's nice that it's finally coming together on this 12th of February, Valentine's Day minus 2 days. Yes. Okay, so I guess it's time for us to start. Some people will probably join us later on. Fena, dear Fena, are you available to speak? Because we will start the onboarding.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay. Can
so
everyone hear my voice?
yes, so first
Okay.
of all, everyone, welcome to the Angel Studio onboarding on this 12th of February 2025. Very nice to have everyone here, not just from Indonesia, primarily from Indonesia, but also from Qatar, from the Netherlands, from the UK, and many other places all over the world. So thank you so much for giving your time and spending your time with us. We'll try to keep it as brief as possible today, but first and foremost, welcome. So today, the Angel Studio, we will have welcoming remarks by Fena in just a few seconds, and then we will start the program onboarding. Then we will have an introduction by me, the basics of angel investing, and then we will try to introduce each other to each other so that we get to know each other. And then obviously we will be open for Q&A sessions. So during the course of this, let's say onboarding, if you do have any questions, maybe put it in the chat first, and then we'll discuss it later at the end of this session. So now I give the floor to Fena for some welcome remarks. So Fena, Program Manager of UK and Indonesia Tech Hub, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arifin. And hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. And good morning, maybe for those who are from the UK, Netherlands, Qatar. Thank you for coming on today's onboarding sessions. So I won't be talking too long. Maybe I just want to introduce myself and just want to warmly welcome you all. So I'm Fena. So I'm the UK Indonesia Tech Hub Program Manager at the British Embassy Jakarta. So I'm very excited to see all of you here. So maybe some of you maybe wonder like why this embassy or the UK have this kind of program. So basically, the UK Indonesia is a program from the UK to help Indonesia's growing the digital transformations and the startup ecosystems. So maybe it's as you know that currently in Indonesia the startups particularly for the early stage startup, are still struggling to get funding, because now the funding ecosystem, is slowing down due to some, like issues, and then investors are more cautious. So many early stage startup, very maybe they have very good innovation, but due to the funding struggle, they cannot, like scale up. So this is why we have this program together with Habibi Innovation Incubator and CAS Foundation to help, bridge the gap between the startups who have innovation and impact, and investor, which is now we targeting angel investors to bridge this funding gap. So UK Indonesia Tech Hub is not only focusing on the funding ecosystem, but also innovation. We have several programs focusing on startup in several sectors, like in green tech, in blue sector, in health as well. So we also doing some work on policy development as well, and upskilling for digital talent, because uh, innovation needs talent, right? So we do have a program on talent. So yeah, so we are on behalf of Chris Embassy Jakarta, we are very happy to see all of you here. So hopefully this program will be useful for you to learn about the in angel investing, because your contribution, your role will be very beneficial for the startup ecosystem in Indonesia. So hopefully we will, like help increasing the innovation in Indonesia. So we have prepared some programs, some activities that you can participate, but we also welcome any feedback, any ideas from you guys. Maybe you can have uh, feedback for us to improve these programs moving forward. Please let us know, so we will, like build community of angel investors, so we will learn together, share together. So I myself also want to learn from you guys about the uh, investment, right? So yeah, I think that's it from myself. I think I'm very excited to see the upcoming activities that you can participate, and I also want to learn from each every one of you in this program. That's all. Arifin, thank you. Over back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Fena. Thank you so much for the welcome remarks. And yeah, basically, as Fena said, this is in collaboration with UK Indonesia Tech Hub. So we have the support of UK Indonesia Tech Hub, which we're very thankful for. Yeah, let's start the onboarding process. So basically, for the ones who didn't join our kickoff, again, we will probably send another email out so that you can rewatch the kickoff and what we did at the kickoff event, where we already explained basically our objectives of this program. In essence, when we did our first research, when we first started discussing with UK Indonesia Tech Hub, we figured out that there is a certain gap between small and medium enterprises and also startups who are in their early stages, and they need funding or they need expertise, but they don't know where to go and who to turn to. At the same time, there are certain individuals like yourself who are joining here today, who have an interest in investing, and we could say are high net worth individuals or individuals with disposable income, and they have an interest or they have an expertise or they have both, but they also don't know how to get to these investments. And we are hoping that with this Angel Studio that we can build a community of angel investors, and we can build a platform that connects the two, that connects angel investors who are competent and confident. And how do we make that? Well, basically, we give you all the tools, we give you workshops, we give you classes, and we give you all the tools that you need in order to become a competent and hopefully also confident angel investor. And then at the same time, we have an investment pipeline. With the investment pipeline, they have various problems that they're facing, various challenges that they're facing, And we hope by having this platform, we can sort of tackle all of these challenges head on. Through this platform, we will have certain key elements, which I will get to in a second. And then we will top it all off at the end of this program, which will happen in a few months' time, where we will have a big event called Angels and Dragons. What does that mean? Well, basically, it means that imagine Shark Tank, or for our British audience, Dragon's Den, where basically there will be a few startups or SMEs that will pitch to a panel of judges, and then these panel of judges are also angel investors themselves. And yeah, basically it will be an open discussion, and if they're interested, they can invest in these companies directly on the spot. So that is the program in a nutshell. But then when we're talking about the key elements, we sort of divided it into several phases. So there is a learning phase, a simulation phase, and an investment phase. What does that mean? So the learning phase is mostly to give you the right tools to become an angel investor. So for that, what we're doing today is the cohort onboarding. We will also have peer-to-peer sessions. What we mean by peer-to-peer is basically other angel investors. It could be even from our cohort right now, or it could be from people outside of the cohort, but who are also angel investors, and they will share their firsthand experience of either dealing with angel investors or people who were entrepreneurs and are now angel investors, or angel investors who are now entrepreneurs, something along those lines, but basically people who are your peers, who are angel investors as well. After that, in the learning phase, we will introduce small and medium enterprises and startups, but not necessarily open up investment opportunities yet. We might hint at it, and we will give you a sneak peek, but not necessarily going straight into investments. Why? Because we first want you to feel confident, as an angel investor, that you have all the tools that you need, that you have the knowledge that you need before moving forward to actual investments. And we will also have local and international sharing sessions. So it could be from experts in Indonesia, but also from experts outside of Indonesia. As we have our funding coming from the UK Indonesia Tech Hub, it could be that also we will have some experts from the UK coming on later on. Then we have the simulation phase. What do we want to do in the simulation phase? So after the learning phase, where you learn, for instance, about funding mechanism, you learn about what is angel investing, what are the options to you, what is due diligence, and so on and so forth. Then we want to have a simulation where you, in a controlled environment, you can simulate how to be an angel investor. So it could be, for instance, speed dating. Very fitting that we're talking about speed dating 2 days before Valentine's Day. But in essence, here you will be meeting other startups or small and medium enterprises at a very fast pace. And then you can ask certain questions for a limited time. And then after that, you move on to the next table. But before you move on, we will also ask you if this company is something of interest to you, if you want to invest in this company, or at least learn more about this company. And then we will make a note of it, and then we will try to arrange a follow-up if necessary. What we will also do is role-playing exercise, because from my own experience, when I try to onboard people who I see are very potential to be angel investors, a lot of times there is this fear of starting. And I think if you are in a controlled environment where you feel there is no way of you making a mistake, that everything is right, and that everyone just does something different, and where even if you make mistakes, it's okay. We like that idea. So hence, we want to have role-playing exercises where you will sort of simulate negotiating with a startup or a small and medium enterprise. And we will have more peer-to-peer learning in this simulation phase. What is a bit different from the learning phase is that the learning phase is mostly online. And that's also in order to be inclusive to our friends who are in Qatar, who are in the Netherlands, who are in the UK, and so on and so forth. In the simulation phase, we will probably go more into a hybrid format where a lot of it will be offline. And if our friends from abroad, if you are in Jakarta or Indonesia, we would obviously be very happy if you can join. If not, then we will try to document it as best as possible so that you can also feel as part of this exercise. And obviously, we will have community events because, again, we want to build a community of angels here that trust each other, that like each other, and like hanging out with each other. So we will also have networking sessions just with the angels, but also maybe with SMEs, maybe with other experts, or maybe also with elements of the UK government or of the UK community. And then last but not least, we will have the investment phase where we will have pitch events, networking sessions, panel discussions, and so on and so forth. So here we definitely encourage everyone to at least have a serious look at certain companies. And if you are interested in companies, we will try as best as possible to facilitate meetings and any questions that you might have or fears or concerns, and we'll try to mitigate as much as possible. On that note, in the simulation phase, we will also already start introducing you to companies that are open for investments, but there it's still in a simulated way. If you are serious and if you're interested, obviously you're very welcome to follow up on them. But for us, we would actually try to do that mostly in investment phase. But in a simulation phase, it can already start. So what's coming next? So basically from now on, pretty much every week, except for the end of March and the first week of April, almost every week we will have an event, which mostly will happen online. So here you will see the next closest three events. And here I don't have to go too much into detail. So basically you will get a calendar invite. If you can make it, obviously it would be very great. If you cannot make it, just put maybe or declined, which is also okay. And all of these will be pretty much online. So at the moment, we put all of the events on a Thursday at 5 p.m. Because most of our participants are from Indonesia. We're thinking that obviously 5 p.m. is a reasonable time as you just finished work and you might not quite be ready yet to leave the office or you're working from home. So we thought that 5 p.m. is a reasonable time. And also it gives enough time for our friends from abroad to join in, that they don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. If you do have concerns, or if you, for instance, have better times, or if you prefer different times, please let us know. At the end of the session, I will let you know the main persons that you can contact, but also obviously you can mention this in the chat. We will maybe not discuss times now, but basically if you do have concerns, please mention this in the chat for now, and later on we will share the emails and also the phone numbers of people that you can contact on this personally. During Ramadan, again, because most participants or the vast majority of our participants are from Indonesia, and a lot of them will be fasting. During Ramadan, so starting in the first week of March, the sessions will still be on a Thursday, but will be at 12 p.m., meaning during lunchtime, where there is still a break allocated by the company, but most people will probably not be eating. So again, if you do have concerns for that, please let us know, either now in the chat or later on through email. And we will try to accommodate as many of you as possible. Again, if you cannot attend, it's okay, because we will record all of the online sessions for sure, and you can always rewatch it at your own convenience. So for the next session, which as you can see is Understanding Your Investing Personality and Potential by Jay Adinata, is from a company called Kavland. And some of you have filled out your soft skill questionnaire. Some of you, we do understand that you're very busy and you have a lot going on. So maybe you didn't get to it yet, which is fine. But we strongly encourage you to fill out the soft skill questionnaire. If you didn't get it yet, it could be in your spam. And please reach out to us if you haven't gotten it yet, or if you want us to resend the link to you. And we will definitely gladly do that, because next week with Jay Adinata, we will discuss this. Don't worry, we will not go through every single one of you, no. It will be more of an aggregate, and Jay will basically tell us about personalities and how they can affect you. As you can see, basically the points that we are analyzing is data analysis, proposing, negotiation, briefing, intuition, speculation, public relation, creativity, and innovation. Um, all of these things we feel are important for an investor to have. And one thing that you don't see here is the motivation. What motivates you as an investor, as a person? For instance, there is satisfaction, there's social sense, there's recognition, and so on and so forth. Um, for us, it's actually quite important. What is your intuition, prediction, and speculation? Because indirectly, it sort of says, what is your risk tolerance, right? Do you like a lot of risk? Do you not like a lot of risk? And then also data analysis and strategies planner. Why? Because it means that definitely you like to analyze a problem, that you like to research a problem, and that you try to be as well informed as possible. And all the others are also obviously very helpful. I mean, if you're good in negotiation, I think as an investor, that's extremely important. Briefing and counseling, it means that you have a strong mentorship inside of you. And public relation interaction, obviously you have to network a lot. And creativity and innovation, if you're able to find creative solutions to problems that startups are facing. So basically, these things can change. So if you do the test today, it doesn't mean that it will always be like this. It can always change. And again, there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no perfect investor and there's no bad investor. There's just different types of investors. And this test, we will send it to you right before our session next week. And again, this will not be shared with the group. This will just be your individual property, obviously. And then later on, if you do feel that you want to have a one-on-one with Mr. J, you're welcome to do that. But yeah, for the ones who haven't filled it out, we strongly encourage you to do, because it might also be interesting for you to know where do you stand at the moment, and where's room for improvement, and where you're actually already really good, and we just need to maintain that. So that would definitely be very interesting. So that's next week. So please, everyone who hasn't filled it out yet, please do. Definitely a very fun exercise. And then also for everyone here, you might have noticed that there's not that many people here. So obviously we want this group to be intimate. We want everyone to know everyone. And also the sessions that we're doing, most of them, especially in the learning phase, are actually for people who are just starting out as angels and they want to learn more. What is angel investing, basically? How do I start? Where do I start? What do I need to do? What questions do I need to ask? And that is for basically angels who are just starting out. We also have more experienced angels who are definitely very interested to join this program and are pretty much in the program, but they will probably join more in the simulation phase later on, either for peer-to-peer sessions, for networking sessions, or other simulated scenarios that we have planned out. And also we have influencers and KOLs, because specifically for Indonesia, and for our friends who are not from Indonesia, from the UK, Qatar, and Netherlands, you might notice that Indonesia is a bit addicted to social media, and that we have a bit of a addiction to social media, so to speak. And a lot of companies are learning these days that they do need influencers, either to increase their branding, or their positioning, or for instance, for certain products, you need early adopters. I think we call them Maven, and then you have influencers who are more salespeople who convert basically sales. So we definitely want influencers as part of this as well. Some of them will be in our classes, but some of them will also only join in the simulation phase later on. I hope that clears things up. So we also have some house rules, some do's and some don'ts. If you want to take a screenshot, please do. So obviously we want all of you to actively engage in all the program activities. As I mentioned, every week we will have something. We might even give you, homework from time to time. Not necessarily, but, we might. And we also obviously want everyone to be respectful and supportive towards each other, because again, we really hope to build this community beyond this program, that in the end, we will be one group, one united group where, we actually want to network with each other. We want to share ideas with each other. We want to share opportunities with each other. And that can only happen if we are respectful and supportive towards each other. We also want everyone to uphold the integrity of the program by being honest, ethical, and I guess just transparent in general. Because I think the one thing that you will learn as an angel investor is you need to be very transparent. You need to be very honest. And it's definitely not good to hide things, especially financial things. But we'll get into that later. And also, because we might be sharing some confidential information from time to time, we will definitely point that out if we do. So if you do get information which is either semi-confidential or confidential, please obviously keep it to yourself. Don't openly share it with others. We will definitely emphasize that to you if we do share certain information with you. And obviously you can share contacts with each other, but yeah, please respect boundaries because everyone obviously has their own time and their own activities. After that, the don'ts, which is as we're having now an event, so please don't disrupt the event. Thank you for everyone for muting their microphones now. So, I mean, if you have a loud party going on, might not be nice if, you're being loud. And also, obviously, don't harass or discriminate anyone. I mean, this is supposed to be a safe and inclusive environment. And again, we want to create a strong community together. And as I mentioned earlier, also no authorized distribution or reproduction of materials and intellectual property. This is more specifically towards the companies later on that might share some sensitive information, and they will highly appreciate it if we do not share that information with other people who are not part of this, let's say, group. I think those are it. Those are most of the do's and don'ts. If you feel I missed something, or if you have certain questions or concerns about this, again, please mention it in the chat, or later on you can reach out to our team. Okay, and that's basically it for the house rules and also the overview of the whole program. And now for your first session, hello, with me again, the basics of angel investing. So let's start with that. The basics of angel investing, your journey as an angel investor will start here. Here, I thought it would be fitting to have a picture of a business person climbing a mountain of cash from different currencies, because, you never know. So the first question that some of you might have is, what is angel investing? Like, why is it called angel and why not just investor? So number one, what you do is you provide capital. And normally there are two types. So I kept on mentioning startups and also small and medium enterprises, because normally when you hear angel investing, people only understand that it's for startups and investing in startups. But what we're trying to do here is that, again, there are many roads that lead to Rome. There's not just one. So in a sense, the traditional angel investing provision of capital is that you go to a startup and that you provide capital either in the pre-seed, seed, or Series A funding stages. What is pre-seed, seed, and Series A? We will get to that in a second, but just keep that in mind. In essence, you're investing at a very early stage in a company, because as an angel investor, you have limited funds and you only use your own funds. In a traditional business, which means like a small and medium enterprise, you provide capital for expansion, working capital, or modernization. So first, you need to understand what is the difference between a startup and an SME. So a startup, basically what they try to do is they try to grow exponentially, normally by the help of technology. And they try to corner a market, dominate this market, and hopefully then they can set the prices whichever way they want. In a traditional small and medium enterprise, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to be profitable. They're trying to carve out their own little niche or big niche. And then basically they try to expand that niche that they have and grow organically. And there it means that normally where you want to invest is when they're ready to expand, when they have way too much demand and they just don't have enough supply and they don't have the funds to expand. And that's where you as an angel investor can come in. And also angel investors, I guess that's where the angel comes in, is besides financial gain, which obviously all of us are here for, is that you're also driven by more than that. So it could be that you really believe in a founder, that you really believe in an idea of a company, or that you really believe in the solution that this company is trying to, the problem that this company is trying to solve by a solution that they're providing with their products or services. And you're doing that for more than just financial gain. Okay, so what or who is an angel investor? So in the simplest way of explaining is it's a high net worth individual. And how would you define a high net worth individual? I could throw out a number out there, but because we're people from all over the world, it would be not fair, I guess. So basically, a high net worth individual, very simply speaking, is someone who is not really too worried about their monthly expenses. They can cover that easily. They can travel easily, and they have disposable income. So they have a certain amount of money that they can, that is just that they can leave or put aside for investments. In Indonesia, some investors they like to call it uang dingin, or basically cold money. So money that they can invest it, and even if, although hopefully, obviously, the probability is very small, knock on wood, but even if this investment doesn't pan out, you will not get into financial ruin because of that money sort of being lost. So that would be my definition of high net worth individual. What's also important for an angel investor is that you have mentorship skills and that you have a network, vast network. Mentorship skill means that basically you as an angel, you have certain skills, whether it's finance, whether it's your creativity, whether it's your knowledge about ESG or sustainability or whatever it is, that you have some sort of skill, that you could say an expert at something, and that you can share that. And I think that's very important for a lot of small and medium enterprises, because you need to understand, for startups and also SMEs, a lot of times the CEO or founder is not the chief executive officer, but he's the chief or he or she is the chief everything officer. They have to do everything. So they don't really have time to get out of their box, so to speak, out of their four walls. So if you, as an angel investor, can come in and say, hey, you know what? I looked at this from afar and I think I could help you in this area. I think I know someone, or, I can help you to set up an ERP or a CRM or whatever it is, or I can help you with your marketing campaign. I think I know how to help you. That would be very, very helpful for a lot of these companies. And you do not believe how some very simple advice can go a very long way with a lot of these companies, and they will very much appreciate it. And obviously network, so it could be for sales, it could be for strategic partnerships. When we're talking about F&B companies, a lot of times where they're struggling is location. So how to get a location for their next branch. And for instance, if you're someone who has a good relationship with a mall or a landlord or someone who owns a lot of land or rucos or houses or whatever it is, you could be very helpful. And then pretty much in essence, I would say an angel investor or an angel investing is a unique form of early stage financing that combines financial capital with strategic support to help innovate companies grow and succeed. So that, in a nutshell, is angel investing. I guess you would also ask, okay, Finn, so what are my options to invest? I think the most straightforward thing, or the thing that basically everyone thinks of when they are thinking of investments, is equity. Equity, in the nutshell, is basically you own part of a company, and it's normally shares. And that is pretty much it. There's not much more to explain to it. So you give money or give funds to a company, and then in exchange, you own part of that company. And here I have to emphasize non-collateral loans. What does that mean? So basically, normally when you go to a bank and you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car or something like that, and you get a mortgage or a loan, you have to give collateral. So normally you have other property and then you put that up as collateral. So if anything happens with your loan, you're not able to repay it, the bank can sort of confiscate that collateral that you have given. Now, a lot of startups, because they're tech driven, It means basically their main asset is normally their intellectual property, or their idea or their system, but they don't necessarily have anything tangible. They don't have hard assets like equipment or offices or a factory or anything like that. Small and medium enterprises, the same. The main asset that they have is inventory, is the products that they sell. So it could be, I don't know, it could be screws, it could be a phone, it could be, or phones, or it could be food, but they don't necessarily have property or assets like hard assets to put up as collateral. And that's where you as an angel investor come in, because they cannot go to a bank. For a lot of institutional investors, it's just too small. So that's where us angel investors, we come in. So we can be very helpful in giving bridging loans, working capital loan, or what we will discuss later on, not today, but later on, is PO financing, so purchase order financing. A lot of times companies, what they do is they have a purchase order, a big order. I don't know, for instance, frozen shrimp to Japan, and they have to export 2 tons or 3 tons or 10 tons, and they only have enough money to fund 1 ton. They still need funding for the other 9 tons, and that's where you as an angel investor could come in. What can also be done is convertible notes. Convertible notes, in essence, is that you give a loan as well, and you get interest on it. But if you like the company and after the term ends and you say, hey, I really like this company, I would actually just like to own parts of this company, then you can convert this loan plus the interest into shares. So yeah, you are basically covered on the upside and the downside. So that's quite nice. The last part, which is a bit trickier to sort of get, but at a certain level you could get it, is sweat equity. So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these companies, they want your knowledge, they want your network. And you can say, sure, I can do that. I could be your advisor, or I could be your CFO, basically for the next year or 2 years, for free. You don't have to pay me, but there is a value. And this value, I want to be converted into equity. Or you can say, hey, you know what? I can help you with sales. I will try to increase your sales by 10%. And if I achieve that, I want part of your company. So we will get into that in more detail at a later stage, not today, but those are all the options that are available to you as an angel investor. I think some people are also maybe thinking, okay, good to know. But when I hear investor, I just know venture capital investor, those big guys, Sequoia, Y Combinator, and BlackRock and whatnot, all of those people. But what's the difference between those and basically an angel investor? That's an excellent question. So in essence, if you are an angel investor, the most important thing is that you invest your own money. And most of the time, you will also do your own due diligence. You will do your own research. At a later stage in time, when you have enough capital, I would say, or if you have enough cash flow, what you can do is you can always hire a lawyer, you can hire an accountant, you can hire a tax consultant, or a financial analyst, and they can do that work for you. But in the beginning, very highly likely, it's possible that you will do the research on your own. And typically you invest very early, as I mentioned earlier as well, and normally in smaller quantities. So a lot of times venture capital companies, they invest probably bare minimum, bare minimum, a few $100,000, or maybe 100,000. That would be the smallest of the smallest amount that they invest. But as an angel investor, you definitely go below that. So if we want to go like to the bottom rung, it would probably be like crowdfunding, and crowdfunding with a few $100, you can already call yourself an investor and you invested in a company and you will own fractional shares of a company. But then I would say on average, as an angel investor, probably you would definitely invest a few $1,000s, which can go up to $50,000, $100,000, something along those lines. Internationally speaking, angel investors go all the way up to $500,000, but we're not talking about those numbers. We're talking about smaller numbers, something in a few $1,000s, basically. Also, angel investors, they're normally very hands-on when it comes to mentorship. So they definitely believe in the company and they want to be part of this company. And they normally try to get regular updates on the company. And if there are problems, they try to help these companies. Because I guess as an angel investor, you just have more to lose because it's your own capital, your own funds. So you definitely want to safeguard those funds as much as possible. And then normally angel investors are also just considered more pragmatic, and you just have a more pragmatic view of the terms of the investment and also when you expect your return on investment. That's so much to angel investing. And then what is a venture capital investor? So basically, the main difference with an angel investor is that a venture capital investor typically, or I would say 100% of the time, only invests third-party funds, which means that they manage money from investors. They're normally called limited partners who put all the money into an LLC, and then that money gets managed by general partners. And a venture capital investor, in a different sense, is a general partner. And then they invest that money into companies that fit into the investment thesis, that fit into basically the mandate that they have been given for a specific fund. So a company like Sequoia, they could have multiple funds. One could be on sustainability, one could be for tech, and so on and so forth. And normally they enter at a later stage. More and more VCs, or some VCs, now smaller VCs, they're entering at an earlier stage as well. But normally they invest at a later stage. So, Series A or maybe pre-seed. Well, seed, let's say seed. So seed and maybe Series A. And then VCs, also what they do is they normally focus on scaling a business and finding a suitable exit strategy. We will get to that later as well, because we will talk about the different ways of how an investor can get paid. So where do you as an angel investor get your capital to invest? So obviously there's earned income, and then there's gained capital. So earned income, it could be your salary, it could be your bonus, it could be your dividends from something that you have invested in, or it could also be, or the company that you own, or it could also be gained capital. So for instance, if you got an inheritance, maybe if you won the lottery, if you sell your property, then you will get gained capital. And then where do angel investors invest? I sort of touched on that point earlier, but normally nowadays you can sort of group it into two. So there's the technology-driven startups. And again, as I said, they normally try to corner a market and they just go for growth. And then there are SMEs that grow slower and more steady. And then they have a niche and they try to expand on that niche. Some examples for startups, just to be very clear on that, is, for instance, Airtable, Canva, Grab, Tokopedia, and Zoom. I guess if you want to go way back, Google used to be a startup, not anymore, I would say. Facebook, Amazon. So for instance, Amazon, for the first 20 years of their existence, they didn't have a single profit. They were always losing money every year, every quarter, every year, until they got very lucky with AWS, and now they're obviously very profitable. But yeah, for 20 years, investors kept on putting money into the company with the hope that one day Amazon will corner the market and be the behemoth that they are today. And voila, it paid off. But I'm very sure that along the way, a lot of investors sort of cashed out. With traditional SMEs, I guess here the example would be like a coffee shop, but it could be a restaurant, it could be a farm, it could be a manufacturing company that just sells, I don't know, screws or hammers or something along those lines. Yeah, so those are the things that you can invest in. When do you invest? So I will go into startups and then into SMEs. So in a startup, there is pre-seed, which normally means there's also pre-revenue, meaning they have no revenue whatsoever. And then you say, Finn, okay, how do I know that this company will succeed? You don't. That's the funny part about startups. But yeah, in this phase, normally, they have an idea and they want to develop a product, a minimum viable product, a product that they can actually throw to the market, and hopefully the market will actually buy it. So it's not, this is probably a very risky part of the whole timeline, I would say, one of the riskiest. And then obviously you also have the seed stage where, you know, the startups already are acquiring some customers, they have some initial traction in the market and they have revenue, but definitely, they do not have profit yet. In the Series A stage, they have definitely validated all the concepts and they're looking to improve and scale their operations, right? Here, you hope that at least on a month-to-month basis, they're cash flow positive, but most of the time, they're not. And then the valley of death is the funding gap between pre-seed and seed stages. Yeah, this is where, as an angel investor, you could also enter. Now, if we go to SMEs, it's a little bit different and a little bit simpler. So in the early stage, it basically means when they just started, when they have an idea and they say, hey, I really want to open a coffee shop. And maybe you're a friend or you're a colleague or you're someone from a community like the Angel Studio here, and they say, hey, you know what? Would you like to invest in my company? It's still very early stage. It's just an idea, but I know exactly what I want to do. And at this stage, you can join, but obviously the risk is very high. And normally, me personally, if I was an angel investor, I would only invest if I know that this person has successfully launched a separate company in the past. I can see the track record of this person. And then obviously I would look at the team and I would look at the strategy. Yeah, I would take it from there. The safest place to invest in an SME is when they're expanding. As I mentioned earlier, is that they already have revenue, they have customers, and they actually have to decline certain customers. So we will have one of those companies actually joining this program as part of the investment pipeline, is where they have purchase order offers from Japan, from bigger retail stores as well, but they just cannot fulfill these purchase orders simply because they just don't have enough capital, and they need funding to fund these purchase orders. Because the problem is, if you have a purchase order, normally you have to come up with the money for the purchase, for the inventory in the beginning. Maybe you get a down payment, small one, but normally there's terms of payment, and then they pay you in like 30, 60, 90 days, something like that. So obviously you need something to fund you for the 60, 90 days. And that's very exciting in the expansion stage. Then there's the turnaround stage. This I would definitely only recommend to seasoned investors or experienced investors. Why? Because this is mostly for companies that are struggling financially, but actually fundamentally they're strong. Either the branding is strong, the team is strong, or the product itself is very strong, but they are just not sophisticated enough to keep it up financially. And then you could take over, buy the company on pennies on the dollar, and then turn it around. This is definitely very tricky. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm hoping, or maybe some of you have, and that's definitely something for more experienced investors. So how do you get paid? Here, I have to tell you that there are different ways. So a startup, which probably most of you are most aware of, a startup, what they do is, or how you get paid is basically the valuation game or an exit strategy. So normally what a startup is, or what the startup does, is that they say, I have an idea, I have a great product, or I have a great service, and I'll try to corner the market. And then normally at the very early stage, angel investors such as ourselves, they come in and believe in the idea, and they sort of buy into that idea, into that concept. And then normally the company starts to grow, have their minimum viable product, and then they have traction. And then they find out, hey, we need more money, although we aren't profitable yet. And then normally they start a second round. And here is probably pre-seed or seed. And then they keep on doing that until they feel that they're growing and growing and growing, even if they're not profitable yet, until they reach Series A. And then Series A is normally where the venture capital comes in. And then there are bigger rounds. And then if the round is oversubscribed, there is something called a secondary. And then you, as an angel investor, could sell your shares in that secondary. And that's for startups. So that's the whole valuation game. So you have these rounds of funding. But in essence, you're hoping that you can sell at the next round. and you're hoping that the value of the company is higher at the next round. But what this means is that, you're quite illiquid, because except if there is a round or if you can specifically find a buyer, it's quite hard for you to sell these shares. But other than that, for instance, for small and medium enterprises, you have a few more options on your table. So dividends. What are dividends? Dividends are for companies that are profitable, and then they pay out either the whole profit or a certain amount of the profit. And then you, as a shareholder, you will get shares on a prorate basis. So if you own 5% of the company, if they pay out, let's say, $1 million, then you are entitled to 5% of those $1 million of the profits that are paid out as dividends. And then you can also get interest. So this happens when you give out loans. So when you give out loans, very simply speaking, you give a principal amount, let's say $1,000, and then you say, okay, I'll give you this loan for 1 year, and then normally you get paid out every month. Every month you will get paid a certain amount of interest on that $1,000, and then at the end of the term, which means after 1 year, you will get paid interest plus your principal back. What you can also do is revenue sharing. So revenue sharing, I'm doing that right now with a coffee shop actually, is you invest in a company, you have equity, but basically you don't get paid out dividends per se, but it's more of a revenue sharing scheme. So basically every month the company sees if they're profitable or not, and if they're profitable, a certain amount gets paid out every month, and then you are entitled on a prorate basis for that revenue. What you can also do is normally here you get paid smaller amounts, but it's called a share buyback. So some founders, I love these founders. So some founders, they say, you know what? I need the money now, but I actually really believe in my company and I love my company. And after a certain amount of time, I want to buy back the shares from you. I'll buy it back at a profit, obviously, or at a margin, but I want to buy it back. So that can be put in a contract that they say, I need the capital now, but within 2 or 3 years, or 4 years or 5 years, whatever you agree on, I will buy back the shares from you, the investor, at 20% premium, 50% premium, whatever you agree on. And which is good for you because during the term, if the investment goes well, you definitely make more than the buyback margin. And then at the end of the term, you lose your shares, but you still make another profit and you get your principal back. So basically all of the return on investment before the term ends is just pure profit for you. So that's quite nice. And then the exit, I already explained to you guys. Oh no, actually I didn't. So an exit is when you invest in a startup and then you say, not you say, but then basically there's a funding round and someone wants to buy all of your shares. So normally it's a bigger investor. It could be a venture capital company. It could be a competitor and so on and so forth. And they say, I would like to buy out all the minority shareholders. I just want to be the only shareholder here. And then, yeah, then you can sell your shares normally at a profit. In the past, in the golden times of startups, you could make 20x, 30x, 40x. Nowadays, not the case anymore. It's definitely smaller amounts. I think if you do 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, that's already quite nice. But then again, nowadays also the time of you investing until you have an exit is much, much longer. There were also some incidents with some startups at the moment that had some accounting, let's say, difficulties and problems. So the startup scene is a bit tricky at the moment. Is a bit tricky to navigate. Still exciting, but a bit tricky to navigate. For SMEs, you have something called a buyout. A buyout normally happens if there's a bigger competitor. So assume you have a coffee shop, and then for our non-Indonesians, there's a big F&B company here called Ismaya Group. For instance, the Ismaya Group says, hey, I really like your coffee shop chain. I want to buy it. And then, yeah, and then you can sell your shares and then you hopefully make a hefty profit. And here, we don't have to get into each word right now, but basically I just thought I'll just write down almost every word that I know that you could come across in the angel investing world. So startup research, buyback, portfolio, weak, seed, dividends, and so on and so forth. would be fun for you to just go through it and basically say, okay, I know all of these words. If you do, great. But if you don't, then yeah, these words definitely will show up a lot over the course of you being an angel investor. And I just want to leave you for this first basically session that we had with a quote that I like very much. Basically, the true joy in investing lies not just in the financial rewards, but in the opportunity to shape the future and empower the visionaries who dare to challenge the status quo. So I think it fits very well for an angel investor. Yeah, I'll leave you with that basically. So I would say that's basically it from me. We will get to the Q&A later. Again, if you do have Q&As now, you can put it in the chat. But what we want to do now is, because we have all of you gathered here, it would actually be very nice to get to know each other. So let's start with that, I would say. So is there anyone who would like to go first? So basically what we want to do is just a very quick hello and just explain a little bit about you and maybe your motivation for joining the program. If anyone, for whatever reason, doesn't want to do that, that's okay. Please let us know. But anyone who wants to come forward, please do. And yes, I have been speaking English this whole time, but if someone is more comfortable speaking Indonesian, please do as well. So, is there anyone who wants to come forward? Anyone raising their hand? No? Okay. So I guess what I will do is I will start with myself, and then I will just randomly point out to people, and hopefully they want to introduce themselves. So I guess I haven't introduced myself in the beginning, but I am Ariputra, and here today I'm in my capacity as a partner of the HI Incubator, or the Habibi Innovation Incubator. But besides being part of the Habibi Innovation Incubator, I'm also an angel investor. I started in 2019 as an angel investor, and I started out as a pure play impact investor. So I only invested in companies that are impactful, either environmentally or socially. Invested in a vegan food chain called Burgreens, and it started out in Indonesia through that. But since then, it sort of has expanded all over Asia Pacific. So in the Philippines, there's an agri-tech company called Mayani, and then also a limited partner in an alternative protein fund called Better Bite, based in New Zealand, and then also Indonesia in a few companies. And then in the last 2 years, I diversified out, or not diversified out, but diversified more to being a more pragmatic, I guess, all-round investor, and started investing in Pilates studios and coffee shops. We'll be going into paddle courts and maybe even barber shops and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that's it. And for me, what my motivation is to join this program, one, well, I have to be here, but actually for me, it's also just what I want is I really want to connect to other angel investors, not just in Indonesia, but all over the world. And I think that what excites me about this program. I see that Rama turned on his camera. So Rama, I don't know if you did that intentionally or not, but it's your turn now. So Rama, go for it.
Right, Mas Arifin, thank you so much. I would like to introduce and then get acquaintance with these groups, which is previously I and Mas Arifin actually joining the other group of angel investors. So yeah, actually my background more towards the human resources practitioners and also providing the service solutions. But in this regard, since 2000, perhaps 16 or 18, I was recognized by Ibu Mariko Sang, and then we are joining into the group where every stakeholders is talking about the angel investor being investment savvy, and then having different kind of knowledge about the part, especially for myself, different part of the human resources. So I actually the enthusiast for the investment, and then knowing that Mas Arifin already joining with the Habibi Center, developing this Angel Studio. Really interested to know, really newbie in this part. Nice to know everyone here. Hopefully we can get, especially myself, get insight and the knowledge about how to become the angel investor. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Mas Rama. Is there anyone else who would like to share? I mean, we don't have to go through everyone, but anyone who would like to share a little bit about themselves, please do. Chris, do you want to say some words? You don't have
Yeah,
to.
thank you, Arifin. Yeah. So my name is Christopher. Well, Chris, just call me Chris. I've been nearly 10 years in Indonesia, but I'm actually German. Um, and before Indonesia, I've lived also in a few other countries, in Netherlands, UK, Spain. So I moved around quite a bit. Um, so in Indonesia, I'm working quite closely to a local family conglomerate, and also have connection to others. And they feel this energy. They have energy, construction, property, and automotive. And in the last few years, I mostly focused on automotive, developing some of their automotive business. Most recently, I exit a bit from the automotive, and I'm focusing more on green industry, green energy. I also joined Kadin, uh, leading the battery storage topic, and so that's a bit my focus at the moment. But I invested in some company profit sharing with uh, restaurant chain. So what you mentioned earlier, and before we did direct investment in a restaurant, but not so successful. So I changed to profit sharing and they let them operate it. What do I bring? My background is I started in finance many years ago, so I think I have some strengths in finance and quite a good network. I would say that's the main. And what excites me about this, I'm quite curious. I like, first of all, I like to work with innovative and disruptive companies and founders. Um, and I'm really curious, what are the ideas out there? So, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to learn about some potential investment opportunities or some startups and what are their business plans and ideas. That's mostly motivating me. Curiosity, and of course, yeah, there's some financial gain wouldn't hurt, but it's, to be honest, it's not my main objective.
Hopefully, definitely a lot of financial gain for you, Hans. Chris.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's from my side. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you for sharing. Hans, I see you're raising your hand.
Yeah, maybe I can also introduce myself a bit, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. My name is Hans April, and I've been living in the Netherlands for more than 7 years, and I'm currently working as senior tax consultant at EY Amsterdam. I'm basically one of the founder of Indonesian Professional Association in the Netherlands, and also part of Global Indonesian Professional Association called as GIPA. And we are also a partner of Habibi Innovation Team. And yeah, I just want to answer the question, like the reasons why I want to join this program. It's because first I really want to learn about the investment, how to become an angel investor, what kind of considerations that I should take into account, um, especially because you already explained about the stages, and then what kind of advantages that we can get as an investor. I think this is really interesting topic, and I also have a question for that maybe later on. And secondly, the reasons why I want to join this, yeah, of course, because I want to network with the fellow angel investors, and get to know, like their lesson learned, key takeaways, or their experiences from angel investing. And lastly, it's more about personal reason, because of course I want to contribute to the success of small medium enterprises in Indonesia, and also share my knowledge with respect to international tax or domestic tax, because I used to live in Jakarta and work as a tax consultant in Deloitte and KPMG Indonesia. So after living in the Netherlands for 7 years, I'm looking for aspiration how I can contribute back to Indonesia, and I think this is one of more uh, practical solution that I can achieve. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity, and I'm really thankful for engaging us to join this event.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you so much for sharing. And then because of time constraints, maybe one more person. Melanie, I see that you already opened your camera, so if you please, if it pleases you, please share a little bit about you. And thank you so much for joining us in from the UK.
Thanks, Finn. So hey everyone, I'm Melania. I'm actually British Indonesian, and I've spent the past 15 years in venture capital, investing in Silicon Valley, and that included roles such as leading the Global Accelerator program at 500 Global and investing into sustainability startups at Unreasonable. I now build funds and investment communities around the world through my own company. Tapi yang aku paling demen itu orang-orang Indonesia. So I am very excited to be part of this community and hopefully later down the line actually investing hopefully into some SMEs in Indonesia. It's nice to meet you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Short and sweet. I think that's enough for now. But moving on, we do have a Q&A session. So if there are any questions, please go for it. We'll be happy to answer any questions. So please, I'll give the floor to anyone who would like to ask a question. Yes, Hans, please.
Yeah, I have a question basically about how do the angel investors get paid? So basically, from your practical point of view, um, at the early stage, which type of remuneration that you would suggest, like whether it is dividends, interest, or revenue sharing? Because I can say that at the early stage, it's more risky, right? Do you suggest more into interest and revenue sharing, or more into equity or dividends?
Okay. Thank you, Hans, for putting me on very thin ice here. Because basically, from our mandate from the UK EdTech Hub, basically we are not a fund and we are not a fund manager, so we cannot really give you any recommendation of what is better and what is worse. Because the whole idea is that in the end, you as an angel investor, you will be able to answer those questions on your own. So we will give you all the tools. But in the very general terms, I think the most straightforward one, just to get to know the whole flow of negotiating and seeing quick wins, so to speak. I think the easiest is basically giving a loan. Why? Because if you give a working capital loan, this is also very important for people who are not Indonesian. Why? Because as a foreigner, you can still relatively easy give a loan in Indonesia. There's not much that is in your way for that. If we go to equity, that's a whole different story. You need a safe agreement and so on and so forth. But a loan is the most straightforward way of investing, because obviously in theory and hopefully in practice, the whole idea is that you give a principal amount, then you get your interest every month, and then at the end of the term, you get your interest plus your principal back. Which means that pretty much after the first month, you already get a return on your investment or a partial return on your investment. So that, in my opinion, would be the quickest win that you can get. All the others are a little bit more risky and take a little bit longer. So the short answer would be that.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I guess we have all the information that we need. Hans, are those all the questions you have, or do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think that's the primary question that I have, but maybe later on I can ask the questions during the sessions, the next sessions.
Okay, lovely.
Raven, I have a question, but to Hans.
Sure,
Maybe.
go for it.
Hans, I don't know if you can answer it, but for the interest, what is the tax rate on the interest? If you get the, or I don't know who, somebody else can also answer it.
What
You
do you
mean
mean?
for the Netherlands or for where?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously you have to pay some kind of tax, right, on the interest you're taking. I mean, there's as far as I know, there's different tax rates for dividends or so. Is it for the interest? Do you know how high it is?
Are you talking from Indonesian point of view or the Dutch
Yeah,
point
within
of view?
Indonesia, within Indonesia, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
do you know that, Hans?
I think there is a standard rate for that, but it also depends on the terms and conditions or like the nature of the investment itself. So, but for the interest in Indonesia, basically it's around 5%. Wait a sec. Tax interest rate. Yeah, 15% withholding tax. Sorry.
With 15%. Okay.
Yeah.
I think for dividend it's higher, right? Because that's also something you need to consider when you structure this, the different taxes.
Again, what you're referring to is from Indonesia to Netherlands or in Indonesia?
For me, in Indonesia, within Indonesia.
Okay, so for dividends, it's actually 10%.
For 10%, okay.
So if it's within Indonesia, I can answer that. If it's to Netherlands, I cannot answer that.
No, I mean, I meant within Indonesia.
Okay, so I think Hans also, he's more aware of
okay.
of Dutch law, of Dutch tax law. But yeah, for Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, I think that actually makes sense. For loans, it could be 15%. So this is one of those times where I will tell you, I have information for you, but this information is not to be shared because this is sort of a gray zone. So basically, Indonesia, the whole tax system is based on reporting. So if nothing is reported, then nothing happened. So what happens quite a lot is certain companies, they will ask for a loan and then you pay the loan. The easiest way is if you have a company. If you either in Indonesia, if you have a PT or a CV. PT is for investments better. I would definitely recommend to everyone who's serious about investing to have their own company. If you have a PT and you give a loan to another company, if the company that receives the money, if they do not report that they, took a loan, then basically what you have to do is you just have to pay your taxes, probably anything between 0.5 or 11%, depending if you're a PKP or non-PKP. And then at the end of the year, you basically just pay your year-end taxes, which again could either be 0.5% or 11%, or above that if you're non-PKP. PKP. But legally speaking, if you go through anything that is under the supervision of OJK, then you would have to pay 15% on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very helpful.
Yes. All right. So again, last chance for anyone who still has any questions and who still wants to ask something. If not, then I will close it by giving you the numbers of our lovely team members who you can ask for more concerns or questions. I leave it to the floor for another 5 seconds. Okay. We can definitely move on with the questions for a different time, which is very good. So if you have any concerns or questions or anything that you want to discuss in more private, please reach out to Raka. So Raka, maybe you can say quickly hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Raka. Actually, I'm the one that has been emailing each and every one of you. And so really nice to know you and looking forward to work with you. And I will also follow up with each and every one of you that we haven't had the one-on-ones or you haven't replied to my email. So keep me update. I will keep you updated with the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Raka. So Raka is our head of programs and operations at the High Incubator. And as he said, he's the busy bee who keeps everyone informed. And he will send out all your notifications and invites in the future. And then we also have Jeffa Nutroni, our program manager. So Jeffa, please say hi to everyone.
Thank you, Arifin. Hi everyone. I'm Jeffa. I'm part of the Habibi Innovation Incubator. I'm in charge of programs and community. Nice seeing you all and look forward to collaborating with you all in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffa. So for everyone who remembers from the kickoff or who was at the kickoff, Jeffa was at the beginning and he did a lovely performance for our kickoff for the Angel Studio. So thank you so much, Jeffa. And yes, so please take a moment to take a screenshot of this or just write down the email and also the number, obviously. I'll leave this here for another few seconds. Oh yeah, Raka, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think Arifin, you also need to introduce Dinda from CAST.
Of course. So, Dinda, please introduce yourself. The floor is yours.
Oh, hi, everyone. So my name is Athena Dinda. You can call me Dinda. I'm the Program Development Manager from CAST Foundation, which is the partner organization here alongside Habibi Innovation Incubator and UK Indonesia Tech Hub. So CAST stands for Culture, Arts, Science, and Technology. As an organization, we focus on design interventions and also we support innovations built within those four themes: culture, art, science, and technology. So just briefly, I think from our side, we're very excited for this program because we work closely with a lot of grassroots companies and startups as well. So we see there's a lot of potential within Indonesia, as I think all of you know. So it's really exciting to see how we could support this ecosystem and have like a lot of investors and support all these like growing and impactful businesses. So I'm very excited to be here and hope everyone enjoys the next few weeks together with us. Thank you.
So before you leave, this is the end of the Angel Studio onboarding, but please, 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 we still have one more post-event evaluation or poll. So please fill that out if you have the time. Yeah, and then after that, we will leave you to all of the activities that you have to do. And again, thank you so much for being here today, especially for our friends from outside of Indonesia. Thank you so much for coming. And hopefully, you know, you learned something new today. And looking forward to meeting you again and again in the next few weeks and months. Yeah, so definitely very happy and very excited. Again, we started all of this about a few months ago. We started planning this last year with UK ID Tech Hub, so now it's finally coming to fruition. So we're very happy that this is happening. So again, yeah, thank you so much for everyone who has joined today. And please, 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 please fill out the poll. And then after that, you're free to go. Until next week. And as I mentioned, so everyone who is interested in learning more about their personality and also their soft skills, again, please fill out the soft skill questionnaire. If you haven't received an email yet, please reach out, especially to Raka, and Raka can send you the link again for you to fill out the soft skill questionnaire. Because our whole team, we did it, and it was actually quite exciting to find out all the results. It also helps us to understand you better, and to help you to basically, get the right skill set for you and to tailor the program according to your needs. And yeah, it'll be quite exciting. Will be definitely a lot of fun. We have some exciting companies for you as well. Because we have some startups as well. So we definitely believe that startups are still exciting, but we have some startups with some very interesting business models. So we're quite excited to share that with you guys as the time comes. Yeah. So Raka, are we waiting until it's 100%? We're forcing everyone to fill it out? Well, okay. Well, there we go. That's nice. Okay. Lovely. Okay, so with that, we officially come to an end of this program, this onboarding session. As we mentioned earlier, we will send out invitations for next week and also the weeks to come. And for everyone who can join, it will be very lovely to have you, obviously. And if you, for whatever reason, cannot join, please let us know, and then we will definitely send you a video of said